A-plus mock draft time here in the Sportsocracy. It's time to talk about the Cincinnati Bengals.
I don't ever do that for them. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't either. You don't ever do it for the Lions either. But the other kitty cats, they all get the hiss treatment. All right, Cincinnati Bengals time. They have the number 28 overall pick in this draft. Obviously, this is a team that's pretty well set.
They are, and I need to say this with the caveat of this draft was done knowing the Joe Mixon thing, that they want him to take a pay cut, and also knowing that his agent is going to go to him and go, if you get cut, it is bleak as hell out there. So I think Joe Mixon's going to be back. If I'm wrong, then it becomes, can you get to Bijan Robinson? Mm-hmm. Bijan's one of 3 players in the first round that I just have absolutely no idea where he's going to go. He's not going to fall to 28. I can tell you that much. I don't know that you would move to get him, and I don't think Jahmyr Gibbs is a 3-down back. So that's the reason I didn't take either one of them here at 28. But just know, I do know the Joe Mixon thing. I have digested that, and I'm moving on with the assumption that he will be the starting running back for the Cincinnati Bengals in 2023.
All right, so with that running back being a secondary need, not a primary need for the Cincinnati Bengals in this draft, at number 28, they fill their biggest need on offense.
Michael Mayer, tight end out of Notre Dame. I don't physically know that he will be there. He's another player that I can't get a good read on. There's a report out now that there's no chance the Dallas Cowboys let him slide by. I've heard the same thing about the Giants. But then when the rubber meets the road, you're bringing all these guys in on top 30 visits that will – where you think you're going to take them. This, to me, would be a home run for Cincinnati because you add this kid to what you already have with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. Irv Smith's now your second tight end in 12. I don't see a downside here. And I know somebody's going to say, but he didn't run well. I don't care. I don't care. He's 6'4", 250. He's the best blocker in this class, not named Darnell Washington, who, well, let's be honest, is basically an extra tackle because he's not much in the receiving game. Michael Mayer is. They call him Baby Gronk for a reason. And now we do that we did the same thing with Pat Freiermuth. We've done it with every gigantic receiver that's not crazy athletic. But there's just not a lot of negative with him. He's one of the highest rated tight ends I've ever had. Mm-hmm. Now, he's not up there with Kyle Pitts, but Kyle Pitts is not of this universe. So, I mean, the only knock I have is, well, he's maybe not crazy athletic, so I would love for him to go to a place like Cincinnati where you're never going to be able to double him. Because single coverage, I don't know how you're supposed to stop it. Safeties are too small. Linebackers are not good enough at coverage, in large part.
I don't expect Michael Mayer to be there at 28, but this is the A+ mock draft. This is it's a possibility.
Well, we didn't expect him to last past 15 when this first started. And now everything I hear is Dalton Kincaid has passed him, which is just lunacy to me. So is it possible he falls here to 28? Absolutely.
Yep. And if he's not on the board, Jahmyr Gibbs maybe.
Jahmyr Gibbs would be the backup.
Right.
I just feel like you would need another running back to pair with him.
Yeah. At number 60 overall in the second round, Cincinnati taking Jordan Battle, the safety out of Alabama.
I'm going to be really honest. This safety class sucks. But the more I watch Jordan Battle, the more I'm starting to go, I think we're missing on him. Because he's so versatile. He can do so many different things. It's the big knock on him is that he's not the bulldog against the run. He's really good in coverage. Can play in the slot. You can move him around. I feel like this kills 2 birds with 1 stone. And he's really fluid. The knock on him is, well, he only ran a 4.55. Okay, some guys are not dead straight line fast. If your draft board consists of only guys that run sub 4.4s, you're going to be real fast, and you're going to get annihilated by anybody with some size on the line and things like that. So we put way too much stock into a clocked 40 time. Jordan Battle's a player, and when you watch him on tape, it's really, really obvious.
And he was a guy that had a lot of first round buzz around him
early
preseason, and early in the draft process. In the third round, let's go offensive tackle.
This was a member of the 2023 Amon-Ra St. Brown team, which is that's named after guys that I hit in the previous years. Amon-Ra St. Brown was my number one receiver in the class when he came out. Yes, over Jamar Chase. Okay, I didn't get that part right. But
Right.
I think a lot of teams really wish they had Amon-Ra St. Brown right now. It's Wanya Morris. The talent is very obvious. Started at Tennessee, went to Oklahoma. You see the good. I mean, he was one of the highest-rated recruits in the country when he came out. I don't know that he's ever rounded the technique off. And I'm going to say this. I don't think he's ever been coached particularly well. If you've watched this for any period of time, you know that I think Brent Venables is like the Forrest Gump of college football. So I have no belief in him whatsoever. And they were a train wreck last year. And that's why he's fallen. Because he did not look as good last year, didn't take the step ahead that you expected. But I really believe that a smart team, and Cincinnati has shown to be one of those, is going to get this kid. He'll come in for a year, probably play the swing, be your third tackle, and a year from now he takes over for Lyle Collins. Because that's he's going to play tackle in this league. I think he can play on the left side, but he would probably be better on the right.
Wanya Morris, the offensive tackle out of Oklahoma, at number 92 overall. In the fourth round, they have 131. Tyler Lacey, defensive tackle out of Oklahoma State.
Well, and yeah, he's a defensive tackle, kind of. Because he's 6'4", 280.
Mm-hmm.
He's a hyper tweener. I love the tape. I'm just not sure what position he plays. I think his ideal is probably that 3-4 end spot.
Mm-hmm.
But I look at Cincinnati and how they've gotten creative. And am I telling you defensive tackle is a huge need for them? No. I didn't love how Joseph Asai looked there last year. He didn't rate well analytically. He had some games, don't get me wrong, but I feel like you need pieces to pair with him. Tyler Lacey is a developmental project that a year or two from now, when you really figure out what he is, he's a bulldog. He needs to get a little stronger. For me, every issue he has can be fixed by adding 15 pounds of good muscle. Well, with Cincinnati, I have a year or two for you to do that before I really need you to contribute. And I think he fits. When I look at Lou Anarumo, if there is a defensive coordinator in this league that can get the most out of him, that's who it is.
At number 163 overall, they're picking the fifth round, Cameron Brown, cornerback out of Ohio State.
Yeah, this motherfucker needs to drink some milk because he keeps breaking things. He's been hurt a lot, but the tape on him is so good when he's on the field because he's so fluid. He's really good in coverage. I'm sure a lot of Cincinnati fans are like, why'd you not take a corner when you took Tyler Lacey? Not one really that fits in there, and I do not reach in these drafts. Two, there are a couple guys like Cameron Brown that are lottery tickets. If I'm right, and he's as good in the league once he develops, you're hitting a home run here because this could be a starter in the league. We've just never seen him consistently because he would play 2 or 3 games, get hurt, be gone for 2 or 3 games. So he never really got into that groove. It was always coming back for something from something or recovering from something.
Right.
So there's very limited tape where you can really digest what he is, but the good tape is really good.
That's enough reason for me probably not to draft him. If he's already got injury issues, might be a reason to bump him down, but that's why you can get him in the 5th, 6th round.
That's exactly right,
yeah.
Because the good tape is a day 2 pick.
Okay.
So, I mean, this is where you get to, we're Cincinnati, we don't need a ton, and we can take some shots.
Absolutely.
And that's what you're doing here with Cameron Brown.
All right, in the 6th round, 206, B.J. Thompson, edge rusher, from Stephen F. Austin.
One of the things I really like doing in the A-plus mock draft is guys that you've had in the building. Your last 2 picks are guys that have been on top 30 visits with the Cincinnati Bengals. B.J. Thompson, what's the nicest way you can possibly say, is raw as fuck. He is raw as fuck. 6'6", 240. But then you get into the athletic numbers. You start watching him, you're like, oh, this is what you start doing in the 6th round of, oh, my God, if he ever figures it out, that dude is going to be evil. Because there's not that many people in this world that are built like this. all Western Athletic Conference pick in 2021. Sack numbers are good. Didn't turn the corner in 2022. I think that's why Cincinnati wanted to see him of, okay, what happened last year? If he gave them a good enough answer, he is going to be on this team because they are hot and heavy on him. And the speed is intoxicating out of a guy this size. I'm curious to see what his body looks like a year from now. I mean, Stephen F. Austin, I'm going to assume you're not getting high-level strength and conditioning. This kid was able to add 10, 15 pounds of good muscle. He might be the big, scary – he might look like Thor, to be really honest with you, and be the big, scary bear that hides under your bed.
All right, in the 7th round, 246.
Now is where you finally get your running back, and this is a guy also that Arizona had on a top 30 visit, Xavian Valade, running back out of Arizona State. Started at Wyoming. He's really good between the tackles. Not a high-level blocker. He's part of a rotation, but he is a really natural playmaker. And again, I'm going to reiterate this from what I said earlier. This is with the assumption that Joe Mixon will be on this team. If he's not, I could still see you taking Xavian Valade as your second running back in this class.
Yep.
Because they're hot and heavy on him, and I know why. Arizona State was a dumpster fire this year with Herman Edwards, and just nobody showed the potential they had because there was so much uncertainty around the program. When you watch this kid on tape, it's real obvious. If he is coached correctly, he could be a bulldog in this league. Now, is he ever going to be a 3-down back? I highly doubt it. But you get the ball in his hand, and good shit happens.
A+ mock draft for the Cincinnati Bengals. All 7 rounds. It starts off with Michael Mayer at the tight end position. Then you get a good piece for the secondary. You got a piece for the offensive line. That's what Cincinnati has to do, is just plug the little tiny leaks, and hopefully your ship will sail right to a championship.
This roster is so good that the chances of you filling 3 starter roles are highly unlikely. I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles approach of, I've got a big contract coming with Burrow, big one coming with Chase, big one coming with T. Higgins. So I need to start figuring out places that I can get cheaper a year from now when all of these things start to hit and my team gets really expensive. And that's what I did here. If you like these picks, if you hate these picks, if you just want to call me a big mulleted dipshit and tell me that I should never wear the color orange because as a ginger, it makes me look like I'm going to burst into flames. Feel free to do that in the comments. We will have one more mock draft, which is my entry into the media contest. 7 rounds, no repeat players, so you will not see any player with a multiple team. It is all 250,000 picks of the NFL draft as I see them taking place.
Indeed, and like the video, share it out with your friends as well. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Join us for every pick of the NFL draft live right here in the Sportsocracy. It's almost just a week away.
It's here. Yay.